Harris Faulkner has been one of Fox News' most trusted voices for many years, and she has won 6 Emmy Awards. She always stays calm and professional, even when things get really intense on TV. But behind her strong on-camera look, she has gone through a lot of hard personal stuff, scary moments, and things that almost changed her whole career. When she suddenly disappeared from TV, people started wondering, what tough things has Harris Faulkner dealt with that we never saw? In late 2025, longtime Fox News anchor Harris Faulkner, who is known for her strong presence on daytime TV and political news, suddenly stopped appearing. Viewers and people in the media world were left asking where she went. The 6-time Emmy winner has been at Fox News since 2005, but she was missing from her show Faulkner Focus and other programs from November 2025 through January 2026. She said the reason was to take care of some important personal things. But that answer made everyone ask even more questions about what really happened to Harris Faulkner. The break came right after super busy news times, the 2024 election, and the 2025 inauguration. This was the first long break in her almost 20 years as a Fox News anchor. Her sudden absence started a lot of talk and guesses on social media and among news people. Viewers and others kept wondering why she left and what it meant for her future in TV news. In a message she shared just before stepping away, Faulkner said her time off was not running away from work. She called it a purposeful step to grow as a person and support her family. She explained that one big reason was helping her oldest daughter, Bella Berlin, start college. That was a happy but also tough moment for their family. She also talked about starting a new chapter of love with her husband, Tony Berlin. She said they wanted to get closer again after years of juggling tough work. Assignments, raising kids, and busy jobs. Her coworkers and fans really supported her announcement. People were surprised that she was so open and brave enough to take time off for her family's needs. Many people started talking about how important mental health and work-life balance are, especially for famous people who have to handle both big careers and family like Harris Faulkner does. But the break also came because of some really hard family problems. In late 2025 and early 2026, she shared on air that her daughter had gone through some awful things, and that was a big reason she needed to step away from her job for a while. In late 2025 and early 2026, longtime Fox News anchor Harris Faulkner shared some very personal thoughts on air that gave people a rare look at the emotional pain behind her break from TV. Faulkner, who has been a big name at Fox since 2005, said she needed to handle serious family worries. One big worry was about what her daughter had been through, and that started a lot of talk among viewers and news watchers. Faulkner admitted that part of why she took the break was because of the terrible things her daughters had faced in recent years, things she called painful and life-changing. She did not share every detail, but she said protecting her kids and helping them through these hard times is her top priority right now. The anchor has always been honest about her quiet fears for her daughter's safety and happiness, especially because she lives such a public life. As the mom of 2 biracial girls, Bella and Danica, Faulkner has talked in past interviews about the tough talk she has had with them about race, who they are, and faith in a divided America. Her worries match things she said earlier in 2025 when she shared that she feels anxious about how racial and faith tensions can hurt young people in college and in the world. These fears come from real pressures her own kids face. Faulkner also talked about how hard big life changes feel, especially with her oldest daughter Bella getting ready for college. She called this one of the toughest truths in her life. At the same time, she was helping her youngest daughter deal with the tough world of competitive sports, where fairness and bias can be big issues for young athletes today. Her time away from the anchor desk gave her space to face long-time feelings of mom guilt. She felt a lot of pain from missing important family moments because of her busy job and from mean comments people made about her from the outside. Now she's getting ready to come back to TV after a short break. But this is not the only sad thing that took Harris Faulkner off the air for a while. When her father died during the COVID-19 pandemic, she was heartbroken. Faulkner has openly talked about one of the biggest personal losses in her life, the death of her father, retired Lieutenant Colonel Bobby R. Harris, and how it tested her faith and strength. She shared that her father's passing on Christmas Day, 2020, was a very painful moment that changed her spiritual path during the lonely time of the COVID pandemic. In interviews and her book, she called her father her guiding star and lifelong example whose influence shaped both her personal life and her work values. His death happened when strict pandemic rules stopped her from being with him in his last moments, which made her loss feel even worse. In the weeks after, Faulkner said she really struggled with her faith. She prayed less and cried more, losing the spiritual strength she had since she was a kid. Later, while packing her father's things, she found his Bible full of his handwritten notes on Scripture that had helped him through life. Reading his notes gave her comfort and made her feel close to him again in faith. She said this moment helped put the broken piece of her life back together. Faulkner has been open about this part of her story and how her father's legacy still shapes how she sees strength, faith, and purpose. But this was not the only tragedy that made her question her faith. A few years earlier, she also lost her mother. Faulkner has talked about how losing her mother, Shirley Harris, affected her life and work. Shirley Harris died in November 2016 after fighting advanced lung cancer. Faulkner was right there as her mom's caregiver during the hardest last part of the illness. That experience left a deep mark on Faulkner and changed how she sees faith, love, and loss. Faulkner has said her connection with her mom was unbreakable, and that Shirley taught her the values that guided her through life and into her big journalism career. She has shared how much she still feels that empty space after her mom's death, and even wrote that missing her hurts her heart physically. That shows how deep their bond was and how much her mom's influence still lasts. Faulkner really admired her mom's strength, warmth, and faith, which helped shape her own work values. Growing up in a home where kindness, toughness, and helping others mattered a lot, Faulkner leaned on those lessons during her mom's sickness and in the years after. In interviews, she talked about how her mom taught her to face life's hard parts with grace and to comfort others even when she was hurting herself. Taking care of her mom in those final months also gave Faulkner a special understanding of how heavy serious illness feels emotionally. She brought that understanding to her reporting, especially when she covered the COVID pandemic, even though she never expected to lose her dad while reporting on that global crisis. Even today, her mother's death is a huge part of Faulkner's story, and she has let viewers see a little of the quiet bravery behind her strong TV personality. With her family support, she has gotten through many hard things, like when an ex-boyfriend stalked her. Before Harris Faulkner became a famous Fox News anchor, she went through a scary stalking situation that left a big mark on her personal and work life. While she was an evening anchor at WDF-TV in Kansas City in the 1990s, Faulkner became the target of nonstop harassment from an ex-boyfriend who would not accept that their relationship was over. The man followed her from North Carolina to Kansas. It was so bad because he watched her every move and kept making things worse that at the tea first he just called her a lot and sent flowers, but it quickly got scarier. The stalker started showing up at her home, hanging around outside her apartment and bothering her with unwanted attention. He scratched and damaged her car on purpose to scare her and show he did not care about her boundaries. Faulkner said this was one of the most upsetting times in her life. It shook her confidence when she was trying to build her TV news career. The stalking got even worse when the man broke into her home, which destroyed her feeling of being safe. Her screams that night woke up neighbors and brought the police. He got arrested. Even after he went to prison, the man stayed obsessed with her. Faulkner said getting warned about his release from prison probably saved her life because it let her take steps to protect herself that she might not have thought of otherwise. Without that warning, things could have ended much worse. Through the whole scary time, Faulkner leaned hard on her faith and inner strength to keep going, and this became one of the biggest trials she ever faced. Besides her personal struggles, Faulkner has also dealt with trauma from things she covered in her job, like when she reported on a terrible event. Faulkner has been honest about how emotionally hard it was to cover some of the darkest moments in recent American history, especially her. Live reporting from the Sandy Hook element. Terry's shooting in 2012. She was there in Newtown, Connecticut on December 14th, 2012, as the town tried to deal with the horror after a mass shooting took the lives of 20 little kids and 6 adults. This is still one of the hardest assignments of her whole career. Reporting live from the parking lot outside the school, Faulkner saw hearses arrive to take the victims' bodies away, a moment she later called unbearably heavy and emotionally crushing. Instead of just reading the news, she naturally asked for a moment of silence on air, so viewers could feel the huge sadness along with her. In interviews after that day, Faulkner said covering Sandy Hook was one of the toughest moments in her professional life. She even broke down on air because the emotional weight was too much. She explained that journalists are supposed to stay calm, but sometimes the human pain of an event is so big that you can't hold it in. She was okay letting viewers see her real feelings as long as she could keep reporting the truth with care and honesty. That assignment left lasting pain in Faulkner's life and changed how she covers future tragedies. It also made her believe even more that you can be professional and still show real human feeling. But another big moment was when she interviewed the president during one of America's hardest times. Harris Faulkner got a lot of attention in 2020 for her strong interview with then-President Donald Trump during the height of the Black Lives Matter protests after George Floyd's death. She showed professionalism, personal understanding, and real courage as a journalist, and people praise her across the media world. In the TV interview, Faulkner asked Trump tough questions about his response to the protests across the country and directly challenged him on his controversial tweet that said, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts." Many people saw that tweet as dangerous. She did not let the comment just sit there. She asked him where it came from and what it really meant, explaining its upsetting history. She had a real back-and-forth talk with the president about race and leadership. The interview stood out because she brought in her own experiences as a black woman and a parent. She used those views to show how national crises hit people differently depending on who they are and where they come from. At one point, she talked about how heavy George Floyd's last words felt and how that moment touched her as a human being. Many journalists and experts like Faulkner's careful and caring style. She was not mean or soft. She kept the conversation balanced. This is just one of many big moments in her career as a top anchor at Fox News, a essay reporter who has covered some of the biggest news stories over the past few decades. Harris Faulkner has many impressive moments. Since she joined Fox News in 2005, she has hosted shows like Faulkner Focus and Outnumbered. She has covered a huge range of stories that show the highlights of her work. Early on, Faulkner reported on the AIDS crisis in South Africa, shining a light on how badly the disease hurt communities far away from the U.S., and showing she was willing to cover hard global topics. She also covered the disappearance of Natalie Holloway in Aruba in 2005, a mystery that stayed in the news for years as police tried to figure out what happened to the young woman. Faulkner was also there reporting right after the Oklahoma City bombing, sharing both how huge the tragedy was and how strong the people in the area stayed. Jobs like these show how flexible and deep Faulkner is as a journalist. Besides world crises and crime mysteries, her reporting has included big U.S. events, natural disasters at home, and political stories from around the world. She has also led important town halls, interviewed presidents and other leaders, and handled stories that need both strong facts and real understanding of people's feelings. What makes Faulkner special is how she mixes clear, fact-based reporting with care for the human side of every story. Whether she is explaining a big health crisis around the world or the pain of families hit by tragedy, her work shows she wants viewers to really understand what happened. She has talked a lot about what it means to be a well-known black woman in national news. She sees her role as part of a bigger story of change in an industry that used to look very similar. Faulkner has said that just being on screen, especially as the only black woman hosting a daily show on a major cable news network, carries extra meaning beyond just ratings. She has explained that her career is not only about her own success, but it shows a change in who gets to speak and have influence in the big national conversation. Throughout her career, Faulkner has dealt with people assuming what she thinks or how she will react to big issues, just because of her race, gender, and Fox News connection. In interviews, she has said people often think they already know her views on tough topics before she even speaks. Instead of seeing that as a problem, Faulkner says it gives her a chance to surprise people with thoughtful answers and her own independent views, breaking old ideas about how a black woman journalist should talk or act on the news. Faulkner has also shared how these assumptions showed up in moments like on The View, where hosts asked her about her duty to certain groups. She answered that her duty is to all people, not just one group. The longtime anchor has said her goal as a journalist is to bring smart questions and wide views to every talk instead of fitting into boxes based only on who she is. Faulkner's place as a top journalist at Fox News has caught the eye of other reporters and media watchers. Many notice that she is always willing to bring parts of her own real life into discussions while still keeping high professional standards, and that adds real depth to her reporting. By doing this, she has helped people see what it can mean to lead as a black woman in main news media. Now you know what happened to Harris Faulkner and why she was off TV for about 3 months. From handling family problems to losses and trauma, what do you think was the most shocking tragedy in Harris Faulkner's life? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.so. Thanks for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.